What if I told you that you could play a one versus many hidden movement board game based on a world that contains psychic spies? Would you believe me? Or would you think it's all too convenient and try to delve deeper into the story? What if you found out that this same board game was based on a best-selling graphic novel of the same name? Would you deduce from this information that I was talking about Mind Management, a freshly Kickstarted project from Off the Page Games, and designers Jay Comier and Sen-Fung Lim? Our provided pre-production review copy teases a much larger world of seduction, subterfuge, and clandestine dealings that seek to live up to Matt Kint's world of intrigue. Does it succeed? We can find out, but I promise you, things aren't ever going to be the same. At this point, as we're all set up here, you might be wondering if you fell asleep during our usual unboxing segment. Friends, you're fine. The psychic spies haven't begun their dark work yet. Nope, we skipped that for this video because the pre-production copy we have is literally just a large cardboard box with everything jammed in there. It's a scary thing, and I have too much respect for you viewers to subject you to that. There's hope, however. The Kickstarter Deluxe version of this game will include a custom game trays insert, a gold standard for box organization. So, that being said, let's actually get into this game. Here's the massive board that represents the city of Zanzibar, where you and your fellow former agents are going to try and capture the recruiter. Whichever of your group takes on that role will secure themselves the smaller map and the player screen. Mind Management offers the players a training mission, which you should absolutely do if this is your first game. To give you an idea of the whole thing, I'm skipping past that and giving you what the full game will look like. The very first thing you'll do is give every player a mayhem token. These serve as walls which will block movement between any two spaces. Starting with the recruiter player, place these down on any border of the map with the exception that you can't place one so that it shares a corner with any other. Each team has their action cards on their spaces on the end of the board, and the recruiter has 12 meeples at the ready. Now, the recruiter should make note of the mayhem locations on their secret map and then choose their starting location, marking it with a number 1. The recruiter then secretly chooses which of the two recruiter characters they'll be playing this game and returns the other to the box without letting the agent see it. They will then shuffle the feature card deck and draw 3 cards at random, placing the rest of the unchosen cards face down in front of their screen for now. Each feature card matches 5 locations on the board. You're going to circle all 15 total features on your secret board. These are the locations that the recruits that you are going to try and find are in. You need to track these down before you are discovered. More or less. Now, you only need to track down 12 of them. A dozen's enough. Do so before you're captured by the agents and Mind Management carries on their nefarious plans. Alternatively, you can also wait out opponents. If you avoid capture for 11 turns, you're safely away with the future of the agency. To help you on your mission, you're joined by these 4 immortals. Place them wherever you like on the main game board, with the exception that you can't place them on the border spaces. Draw 2 additional cards from the feature deck and place them face up under the immortals' recruiting space on the board. Now, the recruiter player is going to take their first 4 turns of the game. The rules are that you must move orthogonally, a word that you should never need to know unless you're a board gamer, and recruiters can't ever double back across the same space. Write the numbers 2 through 5 on each of the secret spaces you visit on your board. I'll say it again because it's important. Once you write a number on a space, you probably won't ever be allowed to go back there, so be very careful about boxing yourself in. The goal here is to start collecting recruits, so you want to make sure that you move to spaces that contain those recruits. For every space you've contained that goes into a circle, you will take 1 meeple and add them to the track here. Yes, you'll collect multiple meeples if the space you travel into has more than 1 feature circled. Now, it's time for the chasers. The rogue agent players distribute their 4 agents however they'd like amongst them and place their figures along the edges of the board. They've just arrived separately in town so as not to arouse too much suspicion, and it's time to lay the net. The rogue agents also start the game with an ally, this adorable little Black Ops dolphin. Yes, we're talking about Spy Flipper. You are also going to take a Mind Slip token and place it somewhere adjacent to a temple. More on that in a second. What begins now is your standard game of cat and mouse. The recruiter moves in secret, writing their numbers down on a sequence of moves on the hidden board until they either get 12 meeples or until they write down the number 16. After the recruiter takes a single step, they can also activate these immortals. They're a powerful double-edged sword for the recruiter. While they will serve to gather more recruits for you based on their open information feature cards, they're also vulnerable to being pumped for information. While in the same location as an agent, that agent loses other abilities and must deal with the immortal by shaking them down. The agent can name any feature on the board, and if it matches one of the recruiter's 3, the recruiter must reveal it and can no longer recruit from that feature. Erase the circles on the secret board, just to be sure. After the recruiter passes, the agents get to activate 2 of their members in an attempt to close the trap. The agents can move up to 2 spaces at a time and make use of the ask, reveal, or capture actions. Capture allows the agent to ask the recruiter if they're in the current location as the agent. If they are, the game's over. You've been captured. If not, they reveal no other information other than the fact that they're not currently there. The ask action is the primary source of information gathering. The agent will choose one of the features in their current location, but not the one that an immortal is currently standing on, and ask the recruiter if they visited any location on the board with that feature yet. If they have, they'll place one of these step tokens on that location that doesn't already have a token from them in it. There are, or rather will be, red tokens that agents can use to take notes about locations, but the recruiter isn't responsible for those. Keep in mind that the recruiter can't lie about this. If they can't place a token, that means they definitely haven't been to an empty location with that feature on it. Sometimes, as the saying goes, no news is good news. Players can use this to rule out pathing for the recruiter. Finally, the reveal action allows agents to discard an existing step token in their current location, forcing the recruiter to reveal what number step the recruiter was there and on what turn, giving the agents crucial info about when they were there. There are some additional subtleties here that are important. I haven't even touched on Spy Flipper or any of the agent's special abilities, nor on the recruiter special movement, but I want to get into how the game works as a whole now that you have a general idea on how to play it. First of all, let me get this out of the way. This game is very, very tense. You're going to spend a good deal of the game's estimated 60-minute playtime talking and arguing and deducing movement. The immortals are going to clog up the board and force you to decide how best to deal with them. There's going to be a lot of discussion about when it's time to capture and when to try to do just a little bit more information. You have to embrace this as part of the fun. Mind management bills itself as a game in quotes. Now part of this is flavor, but I'd go so far as to say that what mind management actually is an interactive puzzle. One of you is placing secrets all over the map, and the rest of you have to find and use them before time runs out. As the recruiter, you're going to have a lot of time between moves to kick yourself over not seeing the better move before you locked yourself into the path. And as the agents, you're going to agonize over how much you should reveal during your table discussions because you're influencing the recruiter's next move by talking about what you can do and what you know. Both teams are convinced they are 100% about to lose the game the entire time. Desperation can cause you to do silly things. Trust yourself, trust your team, but above all, trust Spy Flipper. I also want to mention the best thing about this title, these added-in shift modules. While not strictly a legacy game, Mind Management introduces this mechanic wherein the losing team gets an edge in the next game. While discussing just what those edges might be, borders on spoilers, suffice it to say they're powerful, relevant, and exciting. So much so that I'll say this, if you don't have the time or energy to immediately start a new game upon finishing one, don't open these packs. Knowing what you're about to get access to forced us to queue up another playthrough of this one night when it was already late, but what was inside this little envelope was too good to pass up. Mind management has an awful lot going for it, so let's talk very briefly about where it misses the mark. First of all, Matt Kint's art style is apparently very divisive. One of the things that drew me to this game in the first place was the watercolor art that evokes a very powerful 1960s pulp spy theme, but I was shocked to learn that more than one of my playgroup absolutely hated it. Mind Management is based on a 2012 series of graphic novels done in the same style, and when I looked into that, I learned that it was widely praised for its story, but many of the critics of the novels panned the art. I don't know what to tell you here. It's straight out of the early Bond film style and fits what's happening here perfectly. I love it, but I'll still respect you if you say you don't. Component-wise, the obvious elephant on the table is this giant board. It's gorgeous, and I get that there's a lot going on, but you might need a bigger table. Additionally, the secret movement board is either far too large or the recruiter screen is much too small. Even if a neighboring player can't see exactly what's on it, even knowing which quadrant of the board you're making marks in could be enough for a clever opponent to ruin your day. In our games, players not only had to actively avoid watching the screen when the recruiter was doing stuff, but as the recruiter, I also had to pretend to make marks all over the board before and actually doing what I was doing. In a game like this, where hidden information is everything, this stands out in a big way as a problem. On that note, this is a deduction hidden movement game. When I mentioned earlier that you need to be prepared for long conversations about a single piece of information, I meant it. If that's not your style, you'll be excused from this one. You're going to be most successful here when you can relax into a session. The game says 60 minutes of playtime, and that's actually about right. Even with long, drawn-out decision-making, keep in mind that the recruiter only needs to evade capture long enough to capture 12 meeples, or for 11 turns, and those go pretty quickly. There's zero variance on the table here. It's all down to what you can learn and how efficient you can be. It's exactly my kind of game, though, and I'm here for it. Mind Management submits itself as a new entry into the hidden movement genre, and does so with a stunningly catching art style and tight gameplay that absolutely works. The addition of the shift system is the perfect topping on this already outstanding cake. Let's go through our checklist before I give you my final thoughts. In the box, rulebook clear and non-gender pronouns. We'll start our checklist here again with our usual preview caveat. What I have here, while indicative of where production is at currently, shouldn't be taken as representative of the final product. By way of example, the rulebook I have now was updated halfway through my playtesting process. It's good, providing a decent walkthrough of how a turn works and giving clear examples. It also uses the second-person pronouns you and yours to denote the player throughout. Iconography clear. All the iconography you'll be interacting with in the game is either the various pop art in each of the board spaces or made by you as shorthand for your notes. The latter should be clear, since you made it, and the former is good as well. There aren't any symbols that look too much like the others, and there's always two in every space. Packaging well done. Unknown. As I mentioned earlier, the box I have is not only pretty beat up from having been shipped around the country at least a few times, but there's no organization inside. The promise of a game trays insert alleviates my worry here, at least in name only. On the table, good representation. The Mind Management rogue agents consist of 3 men and a woman. The 2 recruiters I have in the box are 1 man and 1 woman, and the immortals are represented on the table by 3 women and a man. Component quality. This is also a question mark for me right now. As I mentioned, the recruiter player screen is far too small, and the board is a massive table hog. The components are promised to be high quality, but I can't offer opinions on things I haven't seen. I'll say this, if the attention paid to the component quality is as good as the attention paid to gameplay, we should be fine. Replay value, very high. With variable goals in each game, as well as asymmetric play, there's plenty to keep coming back for here. Not only that, but the shift system additions to your future games will make you seriously question when, if ever, you take this game off your table. Fun to lose. Yes, the cat and mouse gameplay is so much fun for people of a deduction persuasion that whether or not you're able to capture the recruiter or secure all your informants really becomes secondary to, did I make the right decisions in this round? It's tense, atmospheric, and above all, fun. Mind Management challenges Whitehall Mystery as my personal recommendation of this genre, and even though this production copy isn't complete and the themes are wildly different, it's a worthy challenge. The shift system gives it a strong edge as I have a passion for legacy-type mechanics, and the overall aesthetic based on a strong existing property also goes a long ways towards me recommending you to at least take a good long look at this one. As it's a Kickstarter, I also have to mention that the addition of a game trays insert in the deluxe version should compel you to already have your wallet out as you follow the link below this video to the campaign. I'm Nicholas, reminding you to help protect the game population, always sleeve your cards. Hey everyone, if you enjoyed that video, please hit that sub button and check out all of our other offerings at goodluckhighfive.com. And please consider becoming a patron of the channel at patreon.com/GLHFmagic and help us keep making reviews, videos, and podcasts for as little as $5 a month. We're also always looking for new games to review, so if you make games or you know a company who does and wants to have their game reviewed on Good Luck High Five, please reach out to us at glhf@goodluckhighfive.com and we'd be happy to take a look. You can follow me, Captain N the Game Master, on Twitter and Instagram at Captain NGM, and follow the channel at GLHF Magic. Remember, please shop at your local game store whenever possible. Until next time, I'm Nicholas,
And good luck. High five.